I'm interested, what do you think, what is the status of experimental cinema and avant-garde cinema today in the film industry, and whether it has any kind of potential or subversive as it was before? And the second question is, what is, by your opinion, like 3 examples of film practice today, contemporary film practice, that challenge this idea of dispositive on a new way, or at least what you've seen in recent years?
Yeah. It's a very important question. I don't know if I can answer immediately. Of course, the situation has totally changed. I think mainly by internet, which is became the database of experimental film, and it's now quite easy to watch the films. Also, I think that the second point is relationships between film and art, and experimental tradition was mainly screened in the museum, in the art center, or the galleries. So we have a kind of museification of experimental tradition. So it's a new step. I'm not sure that the experimental tradition in the historical sense is still working. That's my idea. But on the other hand, I can observe many changes, for example, between installation, between performances, and I think that it's in this in-between that we can get experiences very interesting. So you ask me an example, for example, I am very interested by the work by the Portuguese artist, Filipa Cesar, she does films, even in 16 millimeters, as a long shot, but the films are screened in museum, and but it's not only a film. I mean, it's always a kind of reactivation or reenactment of the past, and it's also connected with research work, so with archives, with documents, and I think now the experimental tradition has to reactivate its own history, and the filmmaker is becoming a researcher. So he is working in the archives with many interviews. There is something connected with the document and how, in a way, how to perform a document. So, for example, in this work, I think it's very interesting because we have two sides. Something really connected to the history of experimental, but something else, more political, and working also with people. She did a very interesting work in Guinea-Bissau, and I think maybe the research is becoming the field of the experimental tradition.